Hello, everyone. My name is Brianna Bell. I'm going to go ahead and do a brief overview of the text that we have been reading and analyzing over the last 8 weeks of this business course. And it's called Presenting to Win, The Art of Telling Your Story by author Jerry Wiseman. Let's just go ahead and jump into just kind of an overview of the author and what the book is about. Who is Jerry? What makes him credible as an author? Well, after doing a little bit of research, Jerry is actually one of the most sought out corporate mentor coaches in the business. He has a private clientele of some of the largest organizations in the country, such as Netflix, Yahoo, Microsoft, and Cisco. His career as a corporate mentor coach began in 1988, approximately, when he first founded a system called Power Presentations Ltd. And this basically was a coaching system that helped enhance the value of large corporate organizations. And then after that, he just kind of started doing a lot of IPOs for really large companies, which helped kick a lot of large organizations off the ground and, like I said, in turn enhance their value. So this book specifically is a very effective book, and it kind of appeals to a large audience, young business professionals, older business professionals in general, consumers, sales, anything like that. He basically, in this text, explains how to effectively communicate within the realm of business so that you are reaching the audience, you're making a difference, and you're allowing them to believe in what you're saying, which ultimately has a huge impact when you're with a large company or organization. Some of the concepts that I found really significant from the text and from a couple of the chapters. The first one is the acronym called WIFE. I might be saying that wrong, but I call it WIFE. It stands for What's in It for You, and Wiseman kind of justifies or gives the objective of this concept when he says, by constantly seeking WIFE in any persuasive situation, you can ensure that your presentations stay focused on what matters the most, getting your audience from point A to point B because you've given them a very good reason to make that move. When he says you're giving them a very good reason to move from point A to point B, which becomes being an audience to the transition of being listeners and being people that are on an agreeable standpoint with you, you're building trust, you're building credibility because you're shifting the focus of your presentation outwards towards the audience instead of focusing on the company or you or yourself. I particularly use WIFE a lot in the workplace, especially when I need to get a task done and I need to convey instructions about that task to a team. I ensure that when I convey that message to my team, that I reassure them that this small piece of this task plays a really large part of the bigger picture, and that their work and their efforts are very valued and appreciated. And that's how I kind of shift that focus towards them rather than I need this for myself, or my boss needs this. It becomes a matter of that you're important to the company, your work is important to the company, and in doing so, to better our programs, we need you to do this task. Audience advocacy is another concept that I really liked from his text. He defines it as learning to view yourself, your company, your story, and your presentation through the eyes of your audience. This basically translates to stepping into your audience's shoes, analyzing your audience's needs, their wants, their likes, their dislikes, their interests, their predisposed opinions. You have a better idea of how you're going to get that message across effectively. I utilize audience advocacy all the time in the workplace, especially when I present to an audience, a large group, or my team, or my bosses, or whatever the case is, because I usually prepare ahead of time about what I'm presenting, and I take the time prior to kind of read it from a standpoint as if I was them, and I kind of analyze, is it too lengthy, is it too brief, is it too long, is it too blunt, is it too wordy, and then I kind of revise it from there. But I'm ultimately stepping into their shoes in order to make those and identify those revisions. The third concept that I really like is features versus benefits. This really coincides with the concept of what's in it for you. The arrow pointing down represents features, which is a factor or quality about you or your company. The arrow pointing up represents benefits, and it's a factor or quality that will help your audience. The two distinguishing factors in these definitions is features focuses on you or your company, a benefit focuses on the audience. When you want to direct your presentation outwards towards your audience, you want to make sure that you're transitioning those features into benefits. So whatever these facts or qualities about your company are, you need to now convey it in a way that seems that it's going to make your audience's life easier, that they're going to want to invest their time and their energy into it as a benefit to them. Features and benefits is another thing that I use at work when I'm, conveying a message to a team. If I'm pitching a new idea to my bosses, instead of kind of just stating factual information, I transition that factual information about how it's going to apply to what they're dealing with and how it's going to better the program or the company as a whole and benefit them. And the last couple slides are a couple scriptures that I like to personally integrate into my personal life and in the field that I work in. And so the first one is Proverbs 16:18. It reads, "Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall." I like this one because it's sometimes you get caught up in your ego and greed and things like that, and when you're in business and when you're just a person, you have to sometimes set your pride and your ego aside and admit that even if you're wrong or if it hurts or if you don't have all the right information or you're late on something, that you have to set that pride aside and just be honest and be accountable, and that will always put you in the right spot. Next is 2 Timothy 1:7. For God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love and self-control. So I like this one too because I think it's important not to hold back in our personal lives and in our workplace. And instead of approaching something with fear, we approach something or a decision or a move with confidence, because confidence is it's how you're, it's what makes your audience think that you're credible sometimes, is the way that you present yourself. So if you don't believe in yourself, 99% of the time, the people that you're talking to aren't going to believe in you. So it starts with you, and it starts with being confident and coming from a place of self-control and power and love and not fearfulness. And the last one is Hebrews 12:11. And this one states, "No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness." This is my favorite scripture by far. I use this in everyday life all the time. Discipline hurts a lot. It's hard. It's hard to remain consistent. It's hard not to give in to external factors that come in and out of our life. And it's hard to stay focused on something. But that focus and that discipline and that hard work and those consistent efforts, they always pay off, and they always put us in the right direction, whether it's through our work, through our social life with our families, or anything like that, personal decisions. Discipline is the key to success, in my opinion. So with that being said, that is the end of my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a little better of knowledge about what Jerry Wiseman presents in this book and what he does and how he is a very effective, credible author. So thanks for watching.